For years, a question has weighed heavily on the hearts of Heartland viewers. Is Ty Borden truly gone forever? The sorrow, the yearning, the persistent hope? It never felt possible that Amy's greatest love could simply disappear. But what if the truth wasn't what it seemed? What if the most astonishing turn in Heartland's history was just waiting to be uncovered? Season 19, Episode 1 delivers a moment so stunning, so unexpected, it will challenge everything you thought you knew about love, loss, and destiny itself. Get ready, because this changes everything. The episode begins peacefully, perhaps too much so. The familiar quiet mornings at Heartland Ranch unfold as the sun rises over the golden fields. A gentle breeze rustles through the trees, and the soft sounds of horses can be heard in the distance. AmyFleming is in the barn, just as she has been for countless years, tending to Spartan, her loyal companion, in a routine that has become second nature. Yet, today feels different. An unshakable feeling hangs in the air, a weight Amy can't quite place. She tries to dismiss it, telling herself it's nothing more than the lingering sadness of a life lived without Ty. But then, she hears it. At first, it's barely perceptible, a sound so faint it could be mistaken for the wind or the old barn settling. However, as seconds tick by, the sound grows clearer. It's the steady beat of hooves, the unmistakable sound of a horse approaching on the dirt road leading to Heartland. Amy's heart seizes in her chest. Her breath catches in her throat. She freezes, her body rigid, the hairs on the back of her neck standing on end. Could it be? It couldn't be. Not after all this time. With a sudden surge of disbelief, Amy steps forward, her eyes straining to see into the distance. The figure is still too far away to clearly make out, but something about the way they ride, the rider's posture, feels intensely familiar. She feels a wave of dizziness, her vision blurring as she desperately clings to the reality she's known since Ty's passing. Could it really be him? Amy's mind races, her pulse quickens, and before she fully comprehends, she's moving faster than ever before. Her legs carry her through the barn and down the path, as if her body understands the truth before her mind can catch up. The figure draws nearer, and now, there's no denying it. She knows that posture. She knows that horse. She knows that man. Ty Borden is back. The man she believed was lost forever. The man snatched from her life in an instant, is standing there, just yards away. Her heart pounds. A mix of overwhelming joy, confusion, and profound relief washes over her. Ty, she whispers his name, her voice initially fragile, barely audible, then louder, more desperate. Ty. The moment his horse halts, Ty looks directly at her. His blue eyes meet her, and in that instant, Amy sees the same man she loved, but with a depth of pain and sorrow she couldn't have imagined. His face, his expression, is a convergence of so many emotions. Relief, heartbreak, fear, and love. All of it comes together in a single powerful moment. He dismounts. Amy reaches him just as his feet touch the ground. Without a second thought, she throws herself into his arms, tears streaming down her face. She clings to him with a desperation that speaks volumes, terrified that this moment, this reunion, might vanish as quickly as it arrived. Ty holds her just as tightly, his own tears falling freely. He buries his face in her hair, his voice a whisper, barely audible over the sound of their hearts beating in unison. "I'm here, Amy. I'm home," the words she has longed to hear for so long. And with that, the walls Amy had built around her heart, the defenses she constructed to survive the agony of losing him, begin to crumble. The camera holds on them for a moment, capturing the raw emotion shared between them. But as this powerful reunion unfolds, the rest of the Heartland family watches, frozen in stunned silence. The people who loved Ty, who carried on in his absence, are now faced with an impossible truth: Ty Borden is back. But how? Why? And most importantly, what has happened to him in the years he's been gone? Jack Bartlett, the unwavering anchor of the family, is the first to truly see Ty, The strong, steady man who had always been the rock for his family is suddenly undone. He stood by Amy through her darkest day. He's witnessed her struggle. But this is something else entirely. Jack's usually steady demeanor falters. His sharp blue eyes, so often controlled, are now filled with confusion, disbelief, and emotions he has never allowed himself to show. He grips the porch railing, his knuckles white as he tries to comprehend what he's seeing. He blinks rapidly, his breathing becoming unsteady. Could it really be Ty, the young man he once mentored? The man he came to see as a son? Is this some cruel illusion, or is it real? His coffee cup slips from his hand, shattering on the floor, the sound harsh and jarring. But Jack doesn't move. He can't. His body is frozen, his mind racing. The second the truth fully registers, Jack's voice breaks. It's a whisper, rough and strained, full of everything he has carried in silence for years. The grief, the guilt, the love, and then, in a moment no one anticipated, Jack crosses the distance between them. He grasps Ty by the shoulders, his hands trembling, his controlled stoic nature completely giving way as he pulls Ty into a tight, crushing embrace. The strongest man on the ranch, perhaps even the strongest man in their family, is suddenly vulnerable. His body trembles, the weight of years of grief collapsing all at once. Through his tears he whispers, "You came back." The moment is raw, powerful, and unexpected. For Jack, it's not just the return of a man, it's the return of a part of himself he thought was lost forever. This moment of reunion, though beautiful, is merely the beginning. Ty's return has shattered the peace of Heartland, and the truth of what transpired during his absence is still waiting to be revealed. What did Ty endure? Where has he been all this time? And what does his return mean for Amy, for Lindy, for Heartland itself? These are the questions that linger as a new chapter in the Heartland story commences. A chapter filled with suspense, raw emotions, and the shocking truths that will unfold in the episodes to come. The entire ranch feels different now. The air, the people, even the horses seem to sense the change, the profound shift that has occurred in their world. Amy, her heart still pounding from the initial shock of seeing Ty again, gently pulls herself back from him. She stares at him, her eyes searching his face as if trying to grasp the reality of what's happening. Is this truly Ty, the man she knew so intimately, the man who was lost to her, the father of her child standing before her, as if he had never left? She searches his eyes, looking for any sign that this isn't just a dream. Ty seems to understand her hesitation. His face softens, a small, almost melancholic smile touching the corners of his lips. He reaches out, gently cupping her face with his calloused hand. His voice is thick with emotion as he whispers, "I never wanted to leave, Amy. I never stopped loving you, or Lindy." The weight of his words hits her like a tidal wave. Years have passed since he was gone, and in that time, Amy has had to navigate the world without him, raising their daughter Lindy on her own. She spent countless nights weeping in the quiet of their empty home, questioning everything, doubting she would ever move. But now, standing before her, Ty's presence feels like a spark of hope in a place she thought was forever dark. Her voice cracks as she speaks, her raw emotions spilling out. How is this possible? We thought you were gone. Ty, how are you here?" There's no anger, no bitterness in her words, only confusion and relief. Ty sighs deeply, looking down at her with regret in his eyes. He hesitates as though searching for the right words, but it's clear that whatever happened during his absence is a story far too complex to explain in a single breath. "I don't even know how to explain it," he says quietly. "It's a long story, Amy, one that's not easy to tell, but I'm here now. That's all I know." Amy takes a step back, her mind reeling. The years of grief, the uncertainty, the loneliness, it all feels like it's crashing down on her instantly. She looks around as if expecting to see some sign, some clue that this is all real. She spots Spartan in the distance, grazing in the field, and for a moment, Everything seems to ground her. This is real. Ty is really here. But the reunion, as emotional and powerful as it is far from. Amy still has so many questions. And deep down she knows there's so much more to Ty's return than meets the eye. What happened to him? Where has he been all this time? Why did he disappear without a trace, leaving everyone behind to grieve his loss? Just as Amy begins to process the gravity of the moment, a sound breaks the silence. A familiar voice. What's going on here? Lou's voice is filled with concern as she steps out from the house. She has always been Amy's rock, ever the protector. And the moment her eyes land on Ty, everything stops. Her breath catches in her throat. Her eyes widen in disbelief. She stares at him, her mind struggling to comprehend what she's seeing. Her voice trembles as she steps forward, shaking her head. This can't be real. You're not Ty. Ty looks at her, his expression full of regret. Lou, I never wanted you to carry this burden. I'm so sorry. I never wanted to hurt any of you. Tears well up in Lou's eyes as she tries to process what's happening. The emotions she thought she had buried deep inside, the pain she had carried silently, now rushed to the surface. She had always considered Ty part of their family, a man who had earned her trust and love. But now, seeing him alive after all this time, it feels like a dream she never thought would come true. Oh my God, Ty, we thought you were gone. We thought we lost you. Lou's voice cracks as she approaches him, her steps hesitant, but driven by the desperate need to hold on to him. As she reaches him, she doesn't hesitate. She throws her arms around him, pulling him close, sobs racking her body as she clings to him. It's not graceful or composed. It's raw, desperate, and filled with a relief she didn't know she still possessed. I never thought I'd get to tell you how much I missed you. Lou sobs into his chest. Ty holds her tightly, his voice just above a whisper. I'm so sorry for everything. I never meant to leave like that. The emotion between them is overwhelming. Lou, the tough, independent sister, the one who always held everything together, now broken in Ty's arms, is a sight Amy never thought she'd see. The years of pain, the unspoken grief of losing someone they all loved so dearly, have finally found their relief. But as Lou pulls back, wiping her tears, there's an undeniable realization in her eyes. Ty's return brings not just joy, but also a flood of unresolved feelings and questions. And Lou isn't the only one struggling to process this new reality. Georgie, too, is grappling with the shock. She has always looked up to Ty as the older brother she never had. He was there for her when no one else believed in her, when she was struggling with her own demons. But now, seeing him in the flesh after all this time, it feels impossible to believe. Georgie stands frozen, her hands clenched at her sides, her eyes wide with shock. She's overwhelmed, the flood of emotions threatening to drown her. Finally, she opens her mouth, her voice a raw whisper. Ty. Ty turns to her, his eyes softening. Georgie, he says quietly, his voice thick with emotion. I'm here now. I swear I never wanted to leave you. Before she can even fully process what's happening, Georgie runs into his arms. She can't help it. The floodgates open, and she begins to sob, not caring who sees. It's a release she's been holding onto for far too long. She pounds her fists against his chest, not out of anger, but out of pure heartbreak. I thought you were gone. I never even got to say goodbye. She cries, clinging to him as though her life depended on it. Ty pulls her close, his arms enveloping her. I'm here now. I promise you, Georgie, I'm here. But even as these powerful reunions unfold, the questions remain. What is Ty hiding? Why did he disappear in the first place? And why has he returned now? There's still so much to uncover, and the answers are buried beneath layers of secrecy and pain. The family's emotional journey is just beginning, and the truth, however much it might shatter their world, will soon be revealed. The cracks in the surface are starting to show, and the deeper truth of Ty's disappearance is lurking just beneath. As Ty embraces each member of the family, It's clear that the reunion is only the beginning of what will be an emotional and tumultuous journey for everyone. Ty, while visibly relieved and grateful to be back, carries with him an invisible burden, one that no one is ready to confront just yet. Amy's heart is still racing. She holds on to him as though letting go would mean losing him all over again. It's a fleeting moment of solace, but it's a moment she's clinging to. Ty's return stirs up emotions she's kept buried deep within herself, and she can't help but wonder if those emotions will be enough to fill the hole he left when he disappeared. Amy takes a step back, her mind still processing the overwhelming reality of Ty's presence. She searches his face, looking for any sign that he's the same man she once knew, the man who made her laugh, the man who supported her through the darkest time. She notices the subtle changes in him, the quiet intensity in his eyes, the deep lines etched on his face that speak of hardships endured, of a life lived apart from the safety of Heartland. She doesn't dare ask what he's been through, not yet. The questions feel too big, too daunting to ask in the midst of such an emotional reunion, but as much as Amy wants to ignore it, the weight of those unanswered questions lingers in the air between them. She takes a deep breath, steadying herself. She has to know the truth. Ty, she whispers, her voice steady but filled with uncertainty. Where have you been all this time? Why did you leave us without a word? The question hangs in the air like a heavy cloud. Ty's face falters for a moment, and Amy can see the internal struggle brewing within him. He opens his mouth to speak, but the words catch. It's clear that he's not ready to dive into the truth of it all. He shifts uncomfortably, looking around, perhaps seeking refuge in the familiar surroundings of Heartland, a place that now seems so far removed from whatever dark reality he's been living in. I don't know how to explain it, Amy, Ty says finally, his voice breaking as he looks into her eyes. I never meant to hurt you. I never wanted to leave you or Lindy behind. But there were things I had to do, things that I didn't have a choice in. Amy can feel her frustration building. She wants to trust him, wants to believe that he's telling the truth, but the silence that has stretched between them for years can't be bridged with half answers and vague explanations. She has spent too much time in the unknown. Ty, she presses, we've all been living with this hole in our hearts. You've been gone for so long, and now you're here, and everything is different. I just need to know. Ty steps closer, his expression softening as he reaches out to touch her arm. Amy, I wish I could tell you everything. I really do. But there's a part of this story that's not easy to explain. It's a part of me that I can't bring myself to talk about yet. He glances over at the rest of the family, who have been watching the scene unfold with mixed emotions, some with tears in their eyes, others with confusion and concern. But I'm here now. I swear I'm not going anywhere. Amy wants to push him further, to demand answers, but something about the look in his eyes makes her pause. She has been waiting for this moment for so long, and yet something about it doesn't feel entirely real. The weight of the unknown sits heavily on her shoulders. She feels like she's standing on the edge of something massive, something that could change everything, but she's afraid to step forward and risk shattering what little hope she's allowed herself to feel. Meanwhile, Lou, still reeling from the shock of seeing Ty alive, watches the conversation unfold. She's happy, yes, but also conflicted. Her own grief over losing Ty was something she never fully processed. As the older sister, she always felt a responsibility to protect Amy, to be strong. But now, standing here witnessing the emotional Jack too, has been silent, watching with a conflicted expression on his face. He has been a father figure to Amy, guiding her through the toughest moments of her life. But in Ty's return, Jack is confronted with something far more complicated. His relationship with Ty was one of mentorship and fatherly love, and losing him was a wound that never fully healed. When Ty left,
Jack had to step in and fill a gap that no one could ever truly replace. Seeing Ty back now brings back all the pain and loss, and Jack struggles to hide the emotion written all over his face. The silence is thick, stretching between them like an invisible wall. Then Ty finally speaks, his voice heavy with everything he still can't say. I know there's so much more to explain, but I just need time. His eyes sweep across the faces of the family he left behind, each one holding a different kind of pain. We've all been through so much, and I don't want to rush this, but please, just know, I never chose to disappear. I never wanted to hurt any of you. His words linger in the air, but they don't bring closure, not yet, because wounds this deep don't heal with words alone. The words hang in the air, and the tension grows thick. The family stands united in their confusion, their emotions raw and palpable, yet still shrouded in the mystery of Ty's disappearance. There are too many questions, too many things left unsaid, and they all know that the road ahead will be filled with more revelations than they are prepared to face. But for now they can only stand there together, uncertain of what's to come, and yet somehow still hopeful that the answers they seek will eventually come to light. The days following Ty's return are a whirlwind of emotions, confusion and quiet reflection. Each member of the family processes the shock of his reappearance in their own way, trying to reconcile the man standing before them with the memories they had carried for years. The ranch, which had felt empty without him, now hums with a mix of new beginnings and unresolved tension. Amy, despite her joy at having Ty back, finds herself wrestling with emotions she didn't expect. Every moment with him feels like a blessing, but the weight of all the unanswered questions threatens to overshadow their reunion. It's not just "where have you been" that lingers in her mind, but the deeper question, why didn't you come back sooner? Why didn't you fight harder to come home to us? She wants to believe that the love they shared can heal the rift that has formed in his absence, but a part of her remains guarded, afraid of being hurt again. One evening as they sit together in the barn, Amy finally gathers the courage to ask the question,